She had everything to live well: a good job, a cozy home, friends, and trips. But when night came and the lights went out, there was a silence that screamed inside her. Maggie felt a void that nothing material, no entertainment, no relationship could fill. It was like a hole in her heart that needed healing. Something was always missing. Have you ever wondered why, even with a comfortable life, you still feel an emptiness that seems endless? Maybe you know someone like that, or maybe that person is you. Welcome to Good Stories Today, your channel for emotional and inspiring stories. Listen while you drive, work, or simply seek inspiration. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Today, you'll hear the story of how Maggie discovered the root of that emptiness, faced painful childhood memories, and found something that changed everything. Get ready. This story might touch places in your heart you didn't even know existed. Chapter 1. A comfortable life that feels hollow. The alarm rang at 6:30 a.m., its sharp sound cutting through the quiet room. Maggie reached out to silence it and lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling. She got up slowly, walked to the kitchen, and brewed coffee. The warm aroma filled the air, but it didn't bring the comfort she expected. She scrolled through social media, seeing perfect photos of weddings, vacations, and smiling faces. She sighed, set the phone down, and finished her coffee in silence. At work, everything followed the same script: meetings, emails, quick hallway chats. Maggie smiled, responded, even cracked jokes, but her eyes searched for something beyond the screens and spreadsheets. When a coworker mentioned a new restaurant, she replied with enthusiasm. Sure, let's plan it. But back at her desk, she stared at the monitor for a few seconds, as if looking for meaning in numbers that said nothing. At 5:30 p.m., she left the office. The sky was painted orange, but Maggie didn't notice. She drove through streets lit by neon signs, listening to songs that didn't make sense. Everything felt automatic. That night, she turned on a soft lamp in the living room, poured a glass of wine, and let a random show play on TV. Episodes rolled by while she scrolled through her phone: shopping apps, quick messages, endless notifications. Nothing held her attention for long. At one point, she stopped, stared at the screen, and sighed. Then she turned up the volume, as if trying to drown out a sound that wasn't coming from outside, but from deep within. She stayed there, motionless, until sleep finally came. Chapter 2. Childhood Echoes. The sound of the TV faded, and suddenly Maggie was back in a small pink bedroom that smelled of crayons. She was 6 years old, sitting on the floor, coloring carefully. When she finished, she ran to her mom with bright eyes. "Look, Mommy, it's a rainbow with a smiling sun." Her mother, phone wedged between her shoulder and ear, replied without looking. "Not now, Maggie. Mommy's busy." The little girl's smile disappeared. She walked back to her room, clutching the paper like a treasure no one wanted. Another memory hit her: the smell of wet grass. Maggie was in the yard, trying to learn to ride a bike. Her dad sat on the porch reading the newspaper. She fell, scraped her knee, and looked at him, hoping to hear, "You can do it, sweetheart." But all he said was, "Get up, Maggie. You need to be strong." No hug, no smile. Just a dry sentence that echoed like a verdict. That day, Maggie learned that showing weakness didn't bring love, only silence. The next memory was even harder: a school play. Maggie stood on stage, clutching her script with trembling hands. She searched for her parents' eyes in the audience, but saw only empty chairs. Later, in the car, she whispered, "You didn't come." Her mother replied quickly, "Oh, honey, Mommy had so much work. You understand, right?" Maggie smiled on the outside, but inside, a hole opened. A hole that would grow for years, turning into the emptiness that now screamed inside her. Chapter 3. The Unexpected Invitation. It was a cold autumn afternoon. Maggie walked through the streets of Chicago, hands tucked into her coat pockets, mind lost in thought. The wind carried dry leaves, and she felt that familiar heaviness pressing harder. Then she heard a voice behind her. "Maggie, is that you?" She turned and saw a familiar face lit by a warm smile. It was Emily, her childhood friend. "Emily, it's been so long." They hugged, and Maggie felt something different in that embrace, a peace she hadn't felt in years. They sat in a cozy cafe, filled with the smell of fresh bread and soft music playing in the background. Emily spoke with enthusiasm about her life. "I've been married for 10 years, have 2 amazing kids and a dog that's basically part of the family. Oh, and I joined a church group that helps people in need. It's so rewarding." Maggie smiled, but inside felt a mix of admiration and pain. Emily noticed her distant look and gently held her hand. "Maggie, are you okay? You know, sometimes we need to stop and listen to what's inside us. I've been through hard times too. Want to know something? There's a spiritual retreat this weekend. It's about self-discovery and connecting with God. I think you should come." Maggie hesitated. The idea of facing her feelings scared her, but something in Emily's voice felt like an invitation to breathe after years of drowning. Chapter 4. Donuts and Deafening Silence. Maggie left the cafe with Emily's words echoing in her mind, mixed with fear. What if I can't handle what I find? At home, she opened the fridge and grabbed a box of colorful donuts. She sat on the couch, turned on the TV, and ate one after another, as if each bite could cure the ache. The sugar brought quick pleasure, a cheap dopamine hit that lasted only minutes. When she saw the empty box, she felt a weight in her stomach and another in her chest. "Why do I do this to myself?" she thought, tears welling up. She picked up her phone and scrolled through social media. Perfect lives, perfect smiles, comparison, frustration, regret. Emily's message popped up. "Think about the retreat, friend. It could be an opportunity for you." Maggie stared at the screen but didn't reply. She set the phone down and closed her eyes, feeling the silence scream louder than ever. Deep down, she knew running wasn't working. But did she have the courage to take the next step? Chapter 5. The Silence That Heals. Maggie spent the night tossing and turning, thinking about Emily's invitation. By morning, she sent a short message. "Emily, I'll go." Her heart raced as she hit send. On Saturday, she drove along tree-lined roads, autumn leaves glowing gold. The silence in the car felt different this time. Not emptiness, but expectation. When she arrived, she saw a simple house surrounded by nature, the smell of wood and fresh coffee in the air. People smiled, hugs felt sincere. Maggie swallowed hard. Can I really do this? The first session was pure silence. Everyone sat in a circle as the facilitator said, "Today, we're going to listen to the voice inside us." Maggie closed her eyes, and memories flooded back. The ignored drawing, the skinned knee, the empty chair at the school play. Tears came without permission. Emily squeezed her hand. "It's okay, Maggie. Let it out." It felt like years of pain were being unearthed. Chapter 6. Letters, Ashes, and Revelations. The next day, Maggie joined a powerful exercise. Each person received a blank sheet and heard, "Write a letter to the child you once were." Her hands trembled as she wrote, "Dear Maggie, you are loved. You don't have to be perfect to deserve care. I'm here for you." When she finished, she hugged the paper like hugging herself. Emily asked softly, How do you feel? Maggie whispered through tears. Like I found a part of me that was lost. Later, during a group talk, a woman named Sarah shared, I spent years trying to fill my emptiness with material things. But I learned that purpose isn't about having. It's about being. Those words echoed in Maggie's mind. She thought of her life full of achievements but lacking meaning. The facilitator added, purpose begins when you understand who you are and who you live for. Maggie shivered. Something was shifting inside her. That night, during a prayer circle, Maggie whispered, God, I don't want to run anymore. Show me who I am. And for the first time in years, she felt a presence that wasn't silence. It was love, a love that filled everything. Chapter 7. From Emptiness to Connection. On the last day, Maggie walked through the retreat's garden, breathing in the scent of flowers and listening to distant laughter. She met Grace, an older woman reading a Bible on a bench. Grace smiled. Sometimes God takes us to quiet places so we can hear what He's been saying all along. Maggie sat beside her and asked, what if I can't change? What if I keep feeling empty? Grace held her hand. Emptiness isn't punishment. It's an invitation to fill yourself with what's eternal. That afternoon, Maggie wrote 3 things that would give her life meaning. Love without fear. Serve with purpose. Live connected to God. When she shared with the group, her voice was steady. Emily smiled. That's beautiful, Maggie. You're finding your essence. That night, Maggie prayed before bed. Thank you, God, for not giving up on me. Help me live with purpose. Peace washed over her like a gentle wave. For the first time in years, she slept without fear. Only gratitude. Chapter 8. A New Beginning. Leaving the retreat, Maggie felt like she was carrying an invisible suitcase, not full of weight, but hope. At home, everything looked the same, but inside, everything had changed. Instead of turning on the TV to escape the silence, she whispered, Thank you, God, for showing me I'm not alone. She wrote simple plans. Call my parents and say I love them. Help someone this week. Spend time with God every day. Small steps, but full of meaning. Days passed, and Maggie realized transformation wasn't magic. It was a process. When emptiness tried to return, she remembered her letter. You are loved. That phrase became her mantra. She started volunteering with Emily's church group, helping people in need. Every hug, every smile filled spaces that once felt hollow. Serving wasn't about status or perfection. It was about connection. Connection with people, with herself, and with God. One quiet night, Maggie sat on her porch, looking at the starry sky. The silence was still there, but now it spoke of peace. She smiled and thought, I'm not that little girl who felt invisible. I'm loved. I have purpose, and I choose to live with intention. Chapter 9. Sharing Light. Where there was darkness. Weeks later, Maggie sat in a cozy cafe with Jenna, a co-worker who looked tired. I don't know what to do, Maggie. I have everything, but I feel empty. Maggie smiled gently. I know how that feels. I used to feel the same, but something changed. Jenna leaned in. Changed? How? Maggie looked at her coffee and said softly, I learned emptiness isn't punishment. It's an invitation to know yourself, love yourself, and connect with God. They talked for hours. As Maggie left, she looked at the sky and smiled. This is my mission now, to share light where there was darkness. Conclusion, an invitation for you. How many times have you tried to fill your emptiness with material things, distractions, or relationships? Maybe it's time to stop, breathe, and listen to the silence. Because sometimes It's in the silence that God speaks the loudest. It's there you discover who you really are and where you're meant to go. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Reflect. What's your purpose? What do you need to leave behind to live fully? Remember, you're not alone. There's always a way to start again. Welcome to Good Stories Today, your channel for emotional and inspiring stories. Listen while you drive, work, or simply seek inspiration. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Every story here is an invitation to live better, with more meaning and more hope.